Okay, so this is interesting and something I've seen quite a bit of. Sil here, a regular viewer and listener of the channel, appreciate you. Kara Lawson, Duke is getting beat up by non-ranked teams this year with a 3-3 record. Should we be worried? And that is in reference to Team USA. That's kind of been the sentiment I've seen out there. Duke struggles, therefore the wrong coach hire was made for Team USA by Sue Bird. If you're unaware, Sue Bird, now the managing director of USA Basketball, and Kara Lawson, now the head coach of USA Basketball, that going into the next Olympic cycle. And of course, this training camp that is coming up in December. I don't make too much of it, to be quite honest with you. Let's look at Duke first and their struggles. They definitely have not come out the gates on fire. As you can see, lost to Baylor, lost to South Carolina, UCLA. So some of these are two ranked teams, but South Florida is a loss as well. West Virginia is a loss as well. So not a great start for Duke. But here's the reason I push back a little bit, because college coaching to me a lot of times is just so much more about recruiting than it is about actual coaching. It's about the talent that you have on your team. And I don't know, enough. Let me first of all say I haven't watched enough Duke to say like what the coaching pros and cons have been. And I don't know enough about the recruiting landscape to say whether or not Kara Lawson has under landed or not, because I haven't thought about Duke. They're not UConn. They're not South Carolina. They're not USC in the women's game. They're not LSU in the women's game. So if it wasn't for Kara Lawson, I wouldn't be thinking about Duke at all. But here's the real truth of the matter. She doesn't have to recruit for Team USA. So any of what I just said is irrelevant, right? Because we already know the roster and talent. So this is about whether she can coach it. And I doubt Sue Bird makes a choice like that without the confidence in Kara Lawson. And I think, there's a level of respect that she's garnered and gained throughout her career. And just take a look at the roster for a second. Here's the Team USA roster for the training camp. This isn't the Olympic roster. I'm aware that some of the players, who were invited couldn't make it. They invited basically everybody that you would think they would want to invite. And then there's also the players who don't really need to be there in order to be a part of the team because of their pedigree and their history. But this is the invite list for the national team. And you can see it's superstar laden. One thing that's super interesting is Caitlin Clark wearing 17, because you're so used to her wearing 22 that it stands out when you see she's got a different number. But I've said for a while, I think this 28 team, we're only coming up on 2026, so there's a little bit of time before the Olympics. But this 28 team is going to be a bit of a dream team, I think. Not quite the same. I don't want to oversell it, because there was such a spectacle to the 92 Barcelona team that went there, because the pros for the first time, and Magic and Bird and Jordan and Charles Barkley and all that. But I say that because this team will be composed of a lot of the players, namely Caitlin Clark, who came up in this rapid rise era. But you get there in the backcourt, Caitlin Clark and Paige Beckers and Juju Watkins, right? The young superstars, along with whatever remaining veterans are still in their prime at that point. So I don't want to call them old guard, but the previous era of dominance, because let's make it crystal, the Team USA has been dominant. They've won gold 8 straight Olympics. So I don't want to dismiss that as if, it was needed for them to win. That's not the point. It's not the point that this talent was needed for them to win. The point is that the talent is more recognizable and has come to be in this burgeoning era of basketball on the women's side. So you look at that roster again, and you see, like I said, some of those names that fit that bill. Caitlin Clark, the highlight name, but you also have Paige, as I mentioned, and Sonia Citron, who was just a rookie, and of course Angel Reese, Juju Watkins, Jackie Young. I love Jackie Young's game. I mean, from this group, I see, Caitlin and Paige, maybe with Jackie Young as starters. And then AB, obviously, a teammate of Caitlin Clark's. And then there's the vets that aren't on this list. I mean, I'm looking here quickly. Asia's not on this list, obviously. We'll see where Brianna Stewart is at that point in time, because that is still a ways into the future, because there are going to be a lot of players who are either aged out or are in that Diana Taurasi kind of role at that point in time. But the basic premise is it will be a changing of the guard in favor of more dynamic guards, which is kind of the way that the game has gone. And it will be the Caitlin Clark team alongside, the other. I mean, think about that poster. And I know, what did they promoted it, and they used Kelsey Plum and Kalia Copper and I forget who the other one was on the graphic. And some people were like, oh, they're, well, not some people, it was Christine Brennan who said, they should have featured Caitlin Clark on the graphic. I don't, I'm not getting worked up over stuff like that. I mean, to me, that was them showing players who were there and won gold in the last Olympics. Caitlin Clark has been invited to the camp. It's, there's no more controversy there. Caitlin Clark will be on the team. Caitlin Clark will be the starting point guard for that team, barring anything strange and out of the ordinary. This is the graphic that was shown that I just referenced. Kelsey Plum, Copper, and Jackie Young. And then the names there that you see. Sarah Strong is another name, who would, I would think, eventually be there at that time, depending on how things work out. She might be a rookie if my instant math shows me right, but rookies have made the team before, even though Caitlin Clark didn't. Brianna Stewart and Diana Taurasi did make the team in their rookie years. But you get the point. And back to the point of the beginning of this video, Kara Lawson doesn't have to recruit those players to the team. She just has to coach those players. And Natalie Nakase and Nate Tibbetts and Stephanie White are serving as court coaches for the training camp. So that goes to show you the investment and the commitment and the support. So I don't know what Lawson's staff will look like for the actual Olympics, but she ain't going to be the only coach on the sideline. Let's put it that way. And it would almost take active sabotage. The rest of the world's getting better now. Don't get me wrong. It's not quite like it is on the men's side, but we saw, France gave the U.S. a run for their money in the gold medal game in 2024. But the rest of the world is getting better. It's no longer the gap that it once was, but it's also not quite where it is on the men's side, where, you don't know, no matter how talented the team is. So I wouldn't have too many Duke doubts about Kara Lawson as the coach of Team USA.